Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at turning point using the daily and the intraday wave chart. I built it off of a Renko, but it's just the wave chart. Anyway, we're going to take a look at it here. You see this point up here? That turning point to that turning point. So that's what I'm examining. How did this turning point occur? How did this turning point occur? So the market, first of all, it's at resistance. How do you know? It goes right into the high bar. Sometimes it goes into the high bar and doesn't upthrust. Other times it upthrusts. But it's the same thing. It goes right into the high bar. Goes into a form a turning point, and that's its resistance. Alright, so as the market goes from this low to that high, we observe it, and you notice that as it's going, there's finally some selling right there with the 12th biggest down wave right at resistance. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything, but when it has that lower low, then it means something. Why? Because this is characteristics of trend. So then it's like important to know. So we notice that it made a lower low, and that gets you very concerned if you're bullish, because it takes out support, makes a lower low. Eventually it takes another shot at resistance. When it goes to resistance, there's certain things you want to observe. One of which is a ridiculous amount of volume. That ridiculous amount of volume is screaming climax. Even though there's not a lot of price distance, there's a lot of volume, which means it's telling you that it's terminating the move, that's a climactic move. You see that because all of a sudden the volume here goes to 1120, which is bigger than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, da, 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 da. So why all this volume? And it really doesn't take out the high, and then supply comes in. So that's telling you that it's game over. That's all it's telling you. So this right here, climactic volume with the biggest volume, 21 waves, is then having a shortening of the thrust, followed by a big supply wave and a lower low. There's no doubt in your mind at this point that the trend has turned. Why? All this volume, the lows have been broken on it. This up wave is done. Its lows have been taken out. So what happened was they're selling on the way up. They're selling on the way up. Now, yeah, they're buying, but they're selling, professional selling on the way up, and then breaks it down, with this low. That's what you need to know. And all from a daily resistance point. So that right there is your climax. It doesn't look like a climax because they don't all look exactly the same with that big, big bar or big wave and big volume, etc. Sometimes it'll just come out in the form of price, sometimes it'll come out in volume, sometimes it'll come out in both. But the idea is it terminates the move, has a shortening of the thrust, followed by supply and a lower low. Game over. Trend done. Where here you see it? The high volume that ended it, followed by a shortening of the thrust, followed by supply to the downside, followed by confirmation of trend. These are the real sequences in Wyckoff in terms of supply and demand. These are the sequences. Alright? And now it just goes into a downtrend. Going into what? Again, very dangerous area. Why? It's support, and does the spring of that area. The problem is, when it does the spring, it rallies, has the confirmation of a higher high, and doesn't pull back. because it doesn't pull back, you can't get in. Why? Because if your stop is below the low, it's not going to give you a decent entry. So anyway, it's going, but the good news is it's coming right back into resistance, and this is where you want to see what the behavior is like. Will it upthrust? Will it be at resistance and turn? Or will it absorb? Or will it break out? That's what you need to see. What you do know at this time is it went into a spring position. It's at resistance now. The thrust, I think, may be shortening. I can't really tell. But the last pullback is very shallow. Like it's only 1 bar. So that's not that good for, Anyway, so this is how we're examining trend. We're looking at support and resistance on the daily. As price goes to those areas of support and resistance, we're taking a look at a lower time frame wave chart. We're observing climaxes, change of behavior, and trend confirmations. All right, take care, bye.